Now then, crew, welcome back to the Andy Mechanic YouTube channel and post-shave. Bit stubbly, but hey, I've had a shave. Now, it is time after about 2 years to give Trevor the Tractor, that's a Kubota, an oil change. First service. Who would have thought? 50 hours. It's done a bit more than that. We'll have a look later on. It's taken me quite some time to obtain the official Kubota service manual for this tractor. The model is a B3150, and this one is a 3150 SU, whatever that stands for, but it's there, look, on the front. Trevor has been a fantastic addition to our gardening equipment here at the Andy Mechanic estate. And I say estate, we have a tiny garden. This is massive overkill, but super useful because we've got a set of forks for the front. I can move pallets around. We've got a 4-in-1 bucket for the front. We've got a quick hitch so I can switch between the two. And it's got a backhoe as well. It's ridiculously useful. And in addition to the backhoe bucket, we can take that off. And we bought, much to Mrs. Mechanic's disgust, to be fair, because of the cost of it, we purchased an auger, a hydraulically driven auger for drilling post holes, which is currently under the bench. And that's the motor part of it. And the auger piece, which is a 40 centimetre, 400mm auger, is currently down the garden on the pallet, and we haven't used it yet. Put plenty of posts in the ground. Lots of development going on with the workshop and expansion and so on, but there were too many pipes around. We couldn't risk using the auger because, you know, it might hit a pipe, and there's a sewage pipe down there somewhere, so that would be nasty. Anyway, let's take a quick look and see just how many hours Trevor the Tractor has done since we purchased him, and then you could ridicule me in the comments. Here we go. Used.
You don't paint something without warning.
Honestly. Okay, there he is. You get a full view of the Trevor the Tractor. Top piece of kit. We'll head round this side. I haven't checked the hours for a bit actually. Bear with me. We'll clamber in. Oh, there we go. Right, there's the dash. Let's just turn the ignition on. Ooh, nearly 90 hours. Look down here. 89.8 hours. Holy moly, nearly 40 hours beyond the service point. And look, they even put me a massive big sticker down here. Honestly, plumber and dripping tap is all I can say. Right, back to the bench. Now, of course, at the first service for any new vehicle, it requires a lot more than just an oil change. I'm just doing an oil change for this video, so this is a video on how to change the engine oil on a Kubota B3150 tractor. Might be useful to somebody. Right, what have we got? So I purchased, there's the invoice, an oil filter. It says here, look, cartridge oil filter. Hopefully that's the engine oil filter. I do have another filter here, which is also says cartridge oil filter, and there's another one here. Now I think these two are the same. No, they're not. So we've got two in the boxes and one in a packet. It's covered in grease at the moment for some reason. Now I don't know which one it is, to be perfectly honest, so let's pull the old one out and have a little look. Hopefully we won't fit the wrong one. As regards engine oil, I actually purchased the original Kubota brand engine oil as well. So we're doing everything by the book. We've got the service manual, the official service manual from Kubota. Shh, don't tell them because they don't like this stuff going out. They get very, very upset. What have we got here? Got a piece of paper. Ooh, hang on. We've got some additional stuffs. Yes, it is the maintenance checklist. So I may well be making some videos on some more bits and pieces that you have to do to your Kubota Tractor at the first service, but this one is just the engine oil. Okay, Andy, get on with it. Right, let's take a quick look in the manual, see what we need to do. Right, said Fred. I've marked it. Checkpoints of all additional 50 hours. Changing the engine oil. Warning: to avoid personal injury or death, be sure to stop the engine before changing the oil. Well, he's not running at the moment, and he has been running. Allow the engine to cool down sufficiently. Oil can be hot and can burn. That's right. 1. To drain the used oil, remove the drain plug at the bottom of the engine and drain the oil completely into the oil pan. Now, this diagram here, if I can hold it up slightly for you, you can see that it appears, number 3, there, look, appears to have 2 oil drain bungs on this particular engine going around the front prop shaft. We'll have a look when we get underneath. After draining, we install the drain plug, in brackets, fit new washer, and then fill with new oil up to the upper notch of the dipsticks. It's pretty simple. It's going to use or take 4 litres or 4.2 US quarts, whatever that is, or 3.6 imperial quarts. 4 litres for me, and we happen to have a, what is it? It's a 5 litre can of oil, so we've got plenty of oil to go at. We're also going to replace the oil filter. This is a brand new engine that's now run in, so there's bound to be some little particles in the oil from the running in process, so it does need to have a new filter at the same time. So, remove the oil filter, put a film of clean engine oil on the rubber seal of the new filter, pretty standard. Tighten the filter quickly until it contacts the mount surface. Tighten filter by hand, and then an additional half a turn only. Basically what they're saying is don't over tighten the oil filters. Lots of people do. After the new filter has been replaced, the engine oil normally decreases a little. Make sure the engine oil does not leak through the seal. So check for leaks and be sure to check the oil level on the dipstick. Then replenish the engine oil up to the prescribed level. Well, we're going to be draining the oil, fitting the filter, filling the oil, and then checking the oil and make sure there's no leaks. That's the plan. I'm hoping that the old oil filter has got a part number on it, and then we'll know which one of these 3 we need to fit. Because just because they're the same physical dimensions and maybe the same thread, doesn't necessarily mean it's the right filter for the engine oil. There's going to be a hydraulic oil filter on the bench as well, and another one. I don't know why they're giving me 3 filters, but I'm sure things will pan out and we'll work it out. Okay, we need to go underneath Trevor the tractor. Okie dokie, well, we're looking from underneath, and this is one of the crossbars to do with the front loader on the tractor, but we've still got access to the 2 drain bungs, and you can see that the sump goes over the top of this front drive shaft that drives the front wheels. So they're giving us 2 drain bungs to make sure we get all the oil out. Okay, this is going to be messy. Remember, it's a diesel engine, and diesel oil is really bad for your fingers, so make sure you wear some gloves. Sorry, camera. It's fresh paint, look. Alright, what's that one cracked off? Let's see if we can get that one cracked off. There we go. Ooh, they were quite loose, weren't they? There we go. I'll have Mr. Socket back. If we can go. There we go. Right. Okay, get rid of the ratchet. It's going to get real messy, hopefully. Is that going to drain down and hit this? That's the question, because the camera is going to be right in the way. I'm not taking this off, because it'd be a nightmare getting the bolts back in if anything moves. So, I might just move you guys back a little bit. Bear with me. That is so much better for the camera. It's a good 6 inches further back now, so hopefully we're going to be okay. Right, here we go. Time to make a mess in the workshop. Hopefully not. Now, a little trick. I'm going to use my socket, and that keeps my fingers a little bit cleaner. Hopefully we can get my hand out of the way before we have a flood. Hey, there we go, look, not too bad. It's not cold. The engine's been running for a few minutes. You don't want it red hot, the oil. up to operating temperature, but you do want it to be a little bit warm because it drains a lot quicker. We'll let this side drain out and then we'll undo the other one. Right, we're almost done with that, so we'll undo this one here. Nearly there, nearly there. Okay, we go. A bit extra, look, that's good. Okay, we'll leave those two to drain and we'll go and fit the oil filter. Now, looking in the manual, we've got a little diagram here showing us where the engine oil filter is. This is the front of the tractor by the looks of it. That's the radiator. Got some belts. That's the engine, and it's on the left-hand side of the engine. Pretty obvious to find. Let's go and take a look. There we go. Okay, a bit of freehand photography going on. Okay, so radiator, engine, and Mr. Oil Filter is down there. So we can come down here, and there he is. Now this plastic guard is a little bit in the way, and to remove it is only 2 bolts, that one there and that one there. So I'm going to whiz that guard out of the way so you can see what's going on. The beauty of filming on a tractor, and this is the first video I've ever done on Trevor the Tractor, is there's so much steel that I can clip my mag mount camera base just about anywhere. It's great. Right, that's that one out. I can't believe how helpful Trevor's been over the last couple of years. Saves me lifting really heavy stuff anymore. Honestly, when you get old, you need a tractor. Pretty simple. Okay, that should. Yes, it just comes out. Off a couple of dowels down the other end. Right, so we'll put that in a safe place. And there's the prize. Now, something that I've just noticed is this coolant pipe for the bottom of the radiator is rubbing very closely, and in fact it's touching the oil filter. That's not very good design, is it? You get some mud in there and it's going to chafe, and it could put a hole in your oil filter or in your pipe. Come on, Kubota, you can do better than that. Now we've also got the oil pressure light switch by the looks of it here, so I'm going to unplug that. Hopefully. There we go. Get that out of the way just so we don't, gives us less chance of damaging that sensor, that switch. Okay, I'm going to use my Sykes Pickavant oil filter remover. There we go, that way. Nom, 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 nom. And I've put an extra oil catch pan underneath. There we go, that's better. This is the starter motor power supply to the main solenoid. It's a very simple little tractor, I do like it. Okay, we've got to say goodbye to the painted oil filter to match the engine. There we go, look at that. That was pretty easy. The guy at the factory didn't over tighten that one. Whoever that chap was, thank you very much. I do like this, this little filter remover. It's not always possible to use it, you can't always get in with it, but it's perfect for this job. Right, so we'll get rid of that. Okay, prepare for oil spillage. There's always a bit of oil inside the oil filter as well, so it is going to drain down. You can really feel it rubbing on that pipe. There we go. Move the pan. Oh, I love my engine chassis number. Lovely. Okay, we'll keep going. As far as diesel engine oil is concerned, this actually isn't too bad. Say it's only 90 hours old. There we go. Right, we'll leave that on the little perch on the drain. Right, now the next job is just like with any oil change or oil filter change, we've got to clean this area here. Now also, it looks like, oh no, it's just a mark. I thought, so you got to check, make sure that the rubber seal here in the filter. sometimes it can stick on the block. You'll make sure it's not there anymore, because if you spin the new filter on with the old seal in place, it will not seal, and you'll have problems further down the line. So let me get some blue roll, we'll give that a bit of a clean up, and then we'll compare the old filter with one of the 3 new ones and work out which one's the right one, hopefully. It's always hard not to get oil on your camera. Right, let's give that a good white round. So Trevor's we've had this tractor about 2 years now, and he's done remarkably well. So he lifted the garden shed the other day, an entire garden shed. It was a steel shed, probably about 3 meters by 2 meters, something like that. And we wanted to move it, part of the development work that we're doing at the moment. And rather than scrap the shed, we then put a wooden frame inside it with a pallet in the middle. And we were able to reach in with Trevor and put the pallet on the forks and lift the whole shed up. It's pretty good for a little tractor. So Trevor saved that shed, because if we couldn't do that, it would have got scrapped. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Hopefully you guys are. Yeah, you can see where it's been rubbing on that pipe. It's not ideal. Okay, to the bench. Now, we don't know which of the 3 new filters is the engine oil filter. Bit of a shame. Could have done to have labelled that up before I left the store. My fault. However, we've got the oil filter off now. Let's have a little look around this filter. I know it's been painted, so there's no part number, which is a real shame. But there might be some clues to help us choose which of those 3 new ones is the correct one. Okie dokie. Chances are, under all of this paint, there will be a part number, but I'm not going to start scratching paint off. I think that's just stupid, and it may well take the part number off anyway. But normally, on an oil filter, the thread type is stamped on the inside. And if you can see that, we've got M2020. So that's an M20 thread in there that spins onto the little spigot on the engine block. So, if we grab this one first. This one is the same length, and it looks like it's the same diameter, so that's a good start. We're sort of, and it's not always the case, but hopefully it is the right case. This one is part number HH160-32093, made in Indonesia, assembly cartridge oil. Doesn't say anywhere that it's the engine oil filter, unfortunately, but hey, what the hell. Right, so let's take this this plastic off. Now obviously if you're going to use a knife, keep well away from the seal, you don't want to damage that. So we'll just score it under there. That should be a pretty safe place to do it. And get rid of that. Okay, that's gone. Now this has got a number on it. It's been stamped, and it's also M20, so that's looking really good. It's got the right thread, it looks the same, it's got the same diameter and the same length. So we'll put that to one side for now, and let's have a look at the other ones, because who knows, they might have sent us 2 the same. Right, this one, has it got a part number on the box? It has. That's this one here. And this one, I'll have to open it, Anna. Hang on, bear with me. Things you do for TV. Right. I just want to see if... Take it out of the bag. So this one, this looks quite different, look. This has got basically a convex end to it, whereas this end is concave. And... has it got a thread marked on it? No, but it looks... oh, mind you, it does look the same, doesn't it? It looks the same thread, but it looks a different filter. Although, it is the same length. If you can see that on the camera there, look, because it's basically the same length. It looks slightly different on the little the grabby-on bits at the end here, where your tool can fit, if you've got the right size tool. And as regards diameter, it is... basically the same diameter as well. So you'll be very, very careful, but I don't think that's the right one because it's got the convex end to it as opposed to concave. So we will stick that back in its bag and back in the box for now. That one is looking less promising. Okay, now this other oil filter is another part number. Again, this one is part number 37712. Let's look at this. Oh, this one isn't in a bag. Now, this one is decidedly longer. And it's a suction filter. Dum 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 dum. Genuine parts, absolutely. But again, the inside looks quite different. And again, that one hasn't got the thread stamped. Man, we've been really lucky having the thread stamped in the one that came off the vehicle. Okay, that looks different. It's a different length. And it's the same diameter. So, the most promising filter is that one. And that's the one we're going to fit. Holy crap. We've got washers as well. Excellent. Stick those over there. Right, that one's still sealed. That's nice. Okay, so just for clarification, the correct oil filter part number for your Kubota 3150 is it on there? Yes, HH160-32093. And is that the part number that came off the bag? Yes, it is. Same part number prints on the bag as well. You'll be so careful because sometimes they change. Right, that's the one that's going to go on. That's the old one. Next job is to put a dab of engine oil around this seal here. Crack the seal. There we go. And we're going to need to cut through the paper. Now, with these foil lids, don't be tempted to sort of hack the whole thing out, because sometimes bits of foil can fall inside the can and then it ends up in your engine if you're not careful. If you haven't got a filter with a strainer in it. So all I do is cut it across the middle and then bend it back like that. And that usually guarantees none of the foil ends up in the oil. Okay, I need a little bit of oil. Okay, get rid of the old one. And all we need is just to rub that around there. And the idea behind that is to make sure that this seal doesn't pick up on the block and sort of twist and possibly tear whilst we're fitting it. Some people use grease. The manual says use engine oil. It's designed to work with engine oil. It might not be designed to work with grease, and it could cause the seal to swell and then fail. So, engine oil it is. Right, to Trevor the tractor. Chong! Right, so we'll make sure that there's no dirt gets in whilst we're doing this. It's not too bad with that pipe in the way, but it's certainly not ideal. There we go. Now, so do it up hand tight and then half a turn. So we'll put our clamp back on to do that. And it wasn't that tight when we took the old one off, so we need to, that's basically finger tight. Cool, I need a pen. Okay, half a turn is 180 degrees, so if we put a line at the top, we need to turn it until that line is at the bottom. And that way it will guarantee we don't over tighten it. Probably take a couple of goes, won't it? Okay. There we go, that's quarter of a turn. It's always nice to do things properly, isn't it? Being a video, if you don't do it properly, everybody gets on the keyboard and starts telling you off. Right, we're approaching. There we go, perfect. That'll do, Gromit. Super job. We'll give it a bit of a wipe down. And before I forget, where's my little plug? There he is. We'll stick him back on there. Right. That's that bit done. This is the bit you really don't want to forget. And as an apprentice, I've known quite a few apprentices over the years, and on a regular basis, the first oil change they do, or maybe the second or third, when they start to think they know what they're doing, they forget to fit the drain bung in the sump, put the fresh oil, engine oil in there, and of course it's all over the floor. Not ideal. So these have to go back in, obviously, and we should be replacing the little copper seal on the bottom. But it's good practice to replace them to make sure you get a good seal. And the dealer didn't have the genuine seals in hand, but they did have some aftermarket ones, so we'll try and choose a couple that fit correctly. Let's take a look. Now, they didn't know what size the washer was, unfortunately. Oh, come on, honestly. Right, where's my knife? Sorry, tame tools, Matt. There we go. Okay, let's get rid of those. Brilliant. And we'll take one of these off. Very small, actually. Almost like, in fact, a copper washer for your banjo bolts on brake systems, of which I have many. So we might resort to using some of those if none of these look particularly good. Looking at the ID, the inside diameter, that one there looks a fraction small. Oh no, it fits. Okay. It's very large on the OD. It's not really ideal. Do we have two of those? We do. So they're a backup. We could use those. That one is way too sloppy. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. Nope, that's not going to work either. So we've got some spares. So let me go and see if I can have a rummage around and see if I can find a couple of those banjo bolt copper washers, because these are also aluminum, or aluminium as we call them in England, and these are copper, and the genuine ones are copper, usually for a reason. So if I've got those, copper it is. Back in a second. Right, these are the ones with the banjo bolts that I've got in stock. They're a fraction smaller on the outside diameter by the looks of it. Let's have a little measure up. Move my tripod. Okay, so the original ones, there we go, are 14.42 millimeters, and the potential replacements that I've found are 13.89, 87, fraction smaller. What about the ID? It looks about right. On the replacements, 10.39 ish. We'll just reset that again. We'll do it again. 10.32. And on the originals, which have always been squashed a little bit, don't forget, 10. So these are slightly smaller on the ID and slightly larger on the OD, which means there is a little bit more surface area between, you know, of copper clamping the, or creating the seal. These, they're pretty close, but they're not bang on. Let me have another little look, see what else I can find. Damn, that's all I've got. Can't find any other ones. So, because these physically are a much smaller surface between the ID and the OD, I'm tempted not to use them. There's a chance that they could leak. So I will resort to using these two aluminium ones, which the dealers supplied. And they're a genuine, you know, Kubota dealership, so I'm sure they'll be just fine. It is important to change them though. So they will go in the bin. They're the old ones. You only get to use them once. Stick those over there. And that will go on there. And that will go on there. Lovely job. Right, let's give that a bit of a wipe down. And the flange looks pretty flat actually, and it's protruding from the sump, so maybe those other ones would have been alright, but I feel a bit more confident with a larger surface area than less of a surface area, to be fair. Okay. We've given it plenty of time to drain out, given the fact we've been filming, because everything takes 10 times as long when you're filming. Okay, that's that one in. And a hoist would be no use because it's such a narrow little tractor, it wouldn't even fit on a hoist probably. Okay, they are in.
So, what's next, Andy?
So now we need to know the torque setting. Back to the bench. Now the last thing I want to do is strip out either of those two sump plug or sump bung threads. So I've searched through the service manual from Kubota and I cannot find any reference whatsoever to the tightening torque for those bolts. However, they do say if we don't list the tightening torque for a particular bolt, refer to the generic tightening torque page. Let's do that. Are you going to stop flickering? You are. Excellent. Okay, so this is the generic use of screws, bolts and nuts as regards tightening torque. And we've got ordinariness or aluminium bolts or nuts. So we're going to go for the ordinariness because they are steel. And we're going to assume it's the lowest grade of steel. And it was an M10 metric bolt, and it says here between 40 and 45 newton meters. Now that's quite high for a sump bung. So I went online and googled the crap out of it, and quite a few people have said 30 foot-pounds, which equates to about 40 newton meters, give or take. So we're going to edge on the lower side, and we're going to tighten them to 40 newton meters. However, as I'm tightening them, if it feels a little bit givey, I will be stopping immediately and we will just go with that, because the last thing I want to do is tell you guys to go for 40 newton meters and then you strip out your sump bungs, because you'd be very, very upset with me. So I've done the best I can. We're going by the manual, 40 to 45. We're going to go with 40. I've got the torque wrench set. Let's crack on. I apologize in advance, Trevor, if I damage you. Okay, here we go. Jeez. Man, that feels tight enough to me. I am not going any more than that. Let me just back off the torque wrench and we'll see what that is. Okay, what are we at now? Where's torch you go? Okay, that is about 35 on the torque wrench. Still tightening. Ooh. Okay, we're down to just under 30. Okay, turning up. I'm turning it up slightly each time. There we are, look, that's where we're at. So, reading the scale, 35 newton meters is all we want to go. Don't like it after that. And I will check them for leaks tomorrow after I've used Trevor. Holy crap, I did not like that at all. I think, to be on the safe side, I would probably go for about 32 newton meters in the future. Just felt like it was giving a bit. Man, hopefully it's going to be alright. There are aluminum washers, so they will be crushing down a little bit. Maybe that's what I was feeling, but it didn't feel good. It really, really, really didn't. Anyway, we better give Trevor some fresh engine oil before I forget. So, just to recap, we've got the Kubota 15W40 engine oil for diesel engines. This is a 5 litre can. No idea what it cost. There's some specs on the back if you're really interested. But it is the right stuff because it's got Kubota on the box. Okay, well, 4 litres is the capacity. Now, the filler on these engines is right at the front of the rocker cover. So, never been undone. Oil's never been checked. Terrible, really, aren't I? Okay, there we go. Put that somewhere safe. Right, I've got a brilliant tool now for filling this up. What we don't want to do is put too much in too quick and have it overflow. I don't know how good the drain is down to the sump. This is a really good filler for oil. I use it a lot on the ROVs. And you can pour a whole litre can in it and just leave it to slowly soak down. And it's got a gauze at the bottom to catch any, foreign bodies or bits of that the aluminium foil, off the lid. Should any get in the oil, it would catch it down there, which is a bit of a backup plan, really, isn't it? Fail safe. Let's see where we're at. Roughly. Oh, we've got a long way to go yet. We've got to go. It's a 5 litre can, so we're going to go down to that line just down here, if you can see that. Could take a while. In fact, while I'm doing this, here's a message from Tool Girl Holly.
Now then, crew, Tool Girl Holly here. Don't miss the next live stream, 8:30 AM Sunday.
Now, with diesel engines, it's extremely important that you don't overfill them with engine oil, because if you do, they can push the engine oil through into the air intake, the air filter housing, which is over there. It has a little breather pipe on it, especially in cars and four-wheel drives. And then that engine oil ends up going into the cylinders, and it can cause the engine to basically overrun, just rev up beyond its governor, because the oil acts as an additional fuel, and the engine can over rev and blow up, basically. And if you look in your rear view mirror, you'll see clouds of blue smoke out the back of your exhaust, and that's the oil burning. So with diesel engines especially, make sure you don't overfill them. Right, this should be the last one, hopefully. Okay, now while that's draining in, let's go and read the procedure for checking the oil level, because it's very important we follow that, otherwise we might overfill it or underfill it. Back to the bench. Checking the engine oil level. Warning: to avoid personal injury or death, be sure to stop the engine before checking the engine oil. Excellent information. Okay, park machine on a flat surface. It is check engine oil before starting the engine, or 5 minutes or more after the engine has stopped. Well, we've just changed the oil, so we should really run it up for a couple of minutes, fill all the oil galleries, fill the oil filter for sure, and then leave it a few minutes and then check it. So it says here for 5 minutes or more after. So we're going to have to run the engine, turn it off, leave it for at least 5 minutes, and then check the oil level. Right, get rid of that. And we best stick that back in, otherwise there'll be oil all over the place, won't there? Not too tight. We'll give Trevor a minute or two to idle, and then we'll turn him off. Now, the reason why I gave you a thumbs up was I was very happy that the oil pressure warning light went out on the dash. That's always a really good sign that you've done a good job. Right, that should be enough. It's been running about 30 seconds, maybe a minute. Okay, I'll open the garage door. Can't do that when I'm filming. And I'll have a cigarette, which usually takes about 5 minutes. And then we can check the oil. Here's another message from Tool Girl Holly. What the hell?
Hey! While Andy's doing that, check out my Instagram page, Tool Girl Holly.
Thanks, Holly. Much appreciated. Right, it's been about 10 minutes, so let's check that engine oil level. Okay, so the dipstick is located right at the back near the bulkhead on the right-hand side of Trevor the tractor. Just down here, look. So we'll pull that out. We'll give it a little wipe. Whoa! God damn it, camera. There you go. Okay, we'll give it a little wipe. There we go. We'll drop them back in again. Dum 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 dum. Oh, good shot. All the way down and then remove. And now we take a reading. Okay. So, what do we got? Well, you can clearly see where we are, which is that little line just there. I'm going to wipe that off. And there's a dot. Ah, there's the two dots. So we were about halfway, weren't we, between the dots. So it wants a little bit more oil putting in. Okay, I can do that. Dum, dum, dum. And we didn't put the full 4 litres in, so I was expecting it to be a little bit low. Stick a bit more in. That should be enough, I reckon. There we go. Perfect, that'll do the trick. Okay, oil cap back on. Dum, dum, dum. Now there's no need to run the engine again. We can just do a quick check. Back down the hole. All the way down. There he is, seated, back out again. And what have we got? Right, we're about 8 millimeters underneath the hull. I'm quite happy with that, to be honest, because the engine's not at operating temperature. It's still quite cool, and that oil will expand with the, you know, as it heats up. So we'll leave it at that, and then maybe when I'm using Trevor tomorrow, when he's nice and hot, I'll just double check the oil level again and maybe top it up if need be. But I'm quite happy with that. It's well above the minimum. You know, probably about 85–90%. Cool. Job done. Well, there you go. We've done the very first ever oil change on Trevor the Tractor, a B3150. What is it? SU version of this tractor. It'll be the same procedure for all the standard B3150s out there as well. I hope this video has been of help to you to do your own oil change and do it properly. If you've got one of these tractors, you know, add it in the comments. Tell me all about it. What problems have you had with this model of Kubota? So far for me, when we very first got the tractor, it had a hydraulic oil leak at the rear, but that was a coupling that they'd fitted for the backhoe. Wasn't quite tight enough. Other than that, it's been absolutely brilliant. It really has. We did get some... It stalled out on Ben one day. He was driving it up a soil bank, tipping out some soil on the front bucket, and it stalled. It got air in the fuel, wouldn't restart. It had about a quarter of a tank, but it was at quite a steep angle, almost as steep as what the bonnet is right now, actually. A bit too steep. I was a bit nervous, to be fair. Turned out there was some black slimy stuff blocking the fuel line into the fuel float bowl, into the filter. Well, the float, not the float bowl, sorry, the little sight glass that collects the water, little water separator bowl on there. We'll be covering that in a future video at some point, because we'll be doing a fuel filter on it, whenever that is, I don't know. The next video will probably be the transmission oil filter change, because we have that to do. And yes, here we go. So engine oil change at 50 hours, engine oil filter replace, transmission oil filter, the HST hydrostatic drive replace, hydraulic oil filter replace. You can see all there, look, on the sheet. They've all been highlighted for me. So there we are. We've got a transmission oil filter and a hydraulic oil filter, if you know what I mean, to replace. So they will be other videos. They will. I quite enjoy working on Trevor the Tractor. He's pretty cool. Okay, crew, you'll well, thanks for watching. If you're not subscribed yet, click on the subscribe, give us a thumbs up. YouTube likes that. Ring the bell, and then that way you'll get future notifications whenever I post any more videos. There's already over 800 videos on this channel. It's unbelievable, to be fair. I never quite knew how fast the channel would grow. We're at 92,800 and something subscribers at the moment. I like to mention that on some of my videos. Magic 100,000 isn't too far away, so feel free to share any of my videos on your social platforms. Let's try and get a bit more traffic, a few more subs, and then we'll have that magic 100,000 plaque here in the workshop. Can't wait. It'll be about 10 years, I think, by the time that turns up. But anyway, thanks for watching. You'll find me on Facebook. You won't find me on Instagram anymore because somebody stole my profile. That's now doing some kind of Bitcoin mining somewhere in the world. They're making, well, they're buying new cars and houses and all sorts by the looks of it. Fantastic. So I'm not on Instagram anymore, just Facebook.
So Andy, how can viewers support the channel?
If you want to support the channel, you can do that through Patreon. You could become a patron and you make a monthly donation, or you can make a one-off donation, or you can just send us a few dollars across through PayPal. Don't do it as a donation, do it as a payment, because nowadays for donations on PayPal, you have to be a registered charity. And I'm not one of those, so it wouldn't work. Just a normal payment, a couple of bucks, all goes in the pot to help fund these videos. Okay, crew, well, great being back, and I'll see you next time. Cheers, over and out. And we get the flip again.
Oh!
Really.